So today we're going to look at a pretty fascinating new way of teaching some pretty complex science, and it has a lot more to do with stories and missions than it does with textbooks.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. That sounds like the beginning of a really weird joke, right? But seriously, stick with me here, because the answer is actually at the heart of a really clever new way to get kids excited about science.
The answer is they're both clues. They're key parts of a new educational unit from LEGO Education called Science Connections. And it's all about getting students in years 4 to 6 hooked on science by basically turning it into one big adventure.
Yeah, so this is not your typical science class. It's not about memorizing a bunch of facts. Instead, it's about joining a team of young investigators on a whole series of missions. So students don't just learn about science, they actually use it to solve problems right alongside these characters.
The entire experience is built around a team of 4 curious kids. These are your fellow investigators, and they're the ones who are going to lead the way through every challenge. So, let's meet the crew. We've got Maria, Sofie, Leo, and Daniel. These are the characters that students are going to work with, following their stories and helping them figure things out as they explore the world around them.
All right, so the first 2 investigations dive right into some really big, fundamental ideas in biology and physics. And they start with a pretty common question. How exactly do we see when it's dark?
So here's the first mission. Imagine this. Daniel's exploring a cave. It's pitch black, and he's found something really interesting. The challenge for the students is to figure out, okay, how do we help him see it? So right away, you're not just reading, you're problem solving.
And of course, figuring this out introduces a really core scientific idea. By tackling Daniel's problem, students actually get to experience and then explain the concept of light reflection. You know, the fact that we see things because light bounces off of them and into our eyes. It's classic learning by doing.
Next up, we've got Maria. The second mission kicks off when she spots an elephant and just gets, well, curious. And it's this simple, everyday observation that sparks a much bigger question about biology.
So they take this really specific question about an elephant's trunk, and then boom, they zoom out. It lets students explore this much broader concept of how all animals use their unique features, both inside and out, to live and survive. Okay, so from the stuff we can see and touch, the lessons now scale way up. We're moving on to tackle much bigger forces of nature, diving into physics and earth science with some very real-world challenges.
All right, now let's check in with Sofie. She finds a wind turbine, and it sparks a question about a topic that, let's be honest, could not be more important right now: renewable energy. How can we actually harness the power of nature in a way that's sustainable?
And what I love about this part is that the lesson isn't just about the how of renewable energy, it also gets students thinking about the consequences, the so what. You know, how our use of these resources actually impacts the environment around us.
Next up is Leo, and his challenge is a serious one. He's thinking about earthquakes, and more importantly, how to keep people safe. And right there, we pivot from just understanding science to using it, to engineering a solution.
The goal here is super clear and, honestly, pretty inspiring. Research and design ways to protect people from natural disasters. So kids aren't just learning about earthquakes, they're actively engineering solutions for them.
Okay, so the final lesson is like the big season finale. It brings everything and everyone together. This is a pretty advanced challenge that needs all 4 of our investigators to work together to solve a really complex problem. So here's the setup. It sounds simple, but it's actually really clever. The team has a shared problem they need to solve, but they have to use a special code to share their ideas and work together. This brings in a whole new layer of thinking.
And this is where it gets really cool, scientifically speaking. Students are basically learning the fundamentals of how we send information. They have to design and test different ways to use patterns to send messages, which is a core concept in, well, all modern communication.
So, as you can probably tell by now, this is about so much more than just snapping bricks together. There's a much bigger educational philosophy guiding the whole thing. Okay, so take a look at this chart. It breaks down the focus across what we call the STEAM disciplines. That's science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And as you can see, science and engineering are the real heavy hitters here, making up the bulk of the focus. It creates this really robust but still well-rounded learning experience.
But, and this is maybe the most important part, those technical skills, they're only half the story. The way these lessons are structured with characters and stories is designed to build something just as crucial.
Because they're going on this journey with the characters,
Kids are also building these huge life skills. They practice persistence when a build doesn't work. They develop empathy for the challenges the characters are facing. And they build self-awareness about their own learning process.
And look, this isn't just some nice side effect. It is baked into the design. This quote from LEGO Education makes it super clear that practicing these social and emotional skills is a core part of the whole experience, learned by engaging directly with the characters and their stories. So, when you step back and look at the whole picture, it's pretty incredible. This whole approach combines hard engineering principles with soft skills like empathy, all through something as simple and playful as a toy brick. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What's the next big frontier for education, and what will tomorrow's most powerful lessons be built from?